Put my armor on, show you how strong I am. I put my armor on, I'll show you that I am. I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. I'm invincible. I win every single game. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries.
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Today is September 21st, and we are doing another show on this beautiful Thursday. This is the ladies of Fandom, and we are discussing flipping movies. We actually have a few special guests with us, few men, so we can go ahead and get their point of view on some of the movies that I would like to discuss today. We have Jedi Joe, who's with us today. We have Dexter over there. How you doing? We have Mr. Calibus over there, and we have Marky Mark. How I would like to do the show today is I just want to name a movie that is either played by male or female, and I just wanted to flip the role. For an example, James T. Kirk from Star Trek. How well will a woman play that part, being the same kind of character, demeanor that he is, how he interact with his crew? So, I'm not going to go there because we all know how that will probably work. But that's just an example. So the first movie that I would like to talk about is an oldie for goodie for me, and it's a movie, and I think it was done probably in the mid 80s, and it's called 9 to 5. In that movie, we had three women. They were working in an office. They have a real cruel manager, which was a male, and he just did things his way. So I would like to say, how would it work if instead of being the three ladies working in the office with other women there, what if it would work with three men, and instead of the male chauvinist pig manager, be a woman? So I would like to have Miss Gray be the first person to answer that. Would that movie work with men being the main stars?
I don't know if it would work, but it would be funny as hell, excuse my language, to watch the men try and fend off, because back when that one was set back in the early 80s, you still didn't have a lot of the sexual harassment rules in the office. So, you would walk past a guy and, get slapped on the rump. And I think it would be funny as heck to have the guy walk past the girl and see what it's like to get felt up or get back into the, okay, I guess it probably wouldn't be funny from a realistic point of view, but I don't know. I think it might be funny, but realistic, no, I don't think it would work.
Okay, Jedi Joe, what about you? 9 to 5.
Oh, wow. Big fan, 9 to 5, obviously, in the grow up days. I don't know. I think that the movie was perfect the way it was. In that era, it seemed like everything was man dominated, and then the women were trying to, I guess you could say, move up in the world, or at least show that they could do the same thing that a man could do. So to see that now, it would be kind of funny, because every man would be kind of interested, like Lady Gray said, hey, smack me on the ass. I'll write you 50 words a minute, no problem. I can't wait until lunchtime. So, yeah, I can see that as a great spoof film. But the original, you can't touch the original. I think it was great of its era. But it would be neat to have a remake, but we all know in today's society, a remake like that would cause a lot of issues. So I'll keep it as that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Patricia, what about you? What do you think about 9 to 5?
It is a fun show, and it would be interesting to see if you can get any guys that could sing as well as the ladies did. But having a male secretary pool could be interesting.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Go ahead. Tell me, Dexter.
I could just tell by the way that you were just breathing that I was going to be next. I don't know why you ladies need to try to keep changing roles and stuff. I don't get it. I don't get it. Leave it alone. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. 9 to 5. Actually funny because I've heard Dolly actually talk about this not that long ago, and there have been talks of doing a remake and actually swapping the roles, and they were saying in either case, not it really just doesn't work in today's society.
Okay. Okay. Not a
I mean,
bad
can you imagine? I mean, you're gonna men tying the woman up into all that bondage outfit and hang her in the garage. Yeah, I don't think that's going to go over too well.
With the men?
With the men hanging right because the boss was it was chained up in the garage and so forth, right? Yeah, to do that to a woman, no.
All righty. Miss Liz, what about you?
I would just think it would. You imagine the female boss walking down the secretarial pool and going, "Ooh, I like you, hubba hubba, I like you, I like you," and then and can you polish my boots and so on and so forth. Like like Lady Grafe, it would be hilarious, but it wouldn't work because like Dexter says, it just would not fly. In today's society, it wouldn't even get past the censors.
And frankly, if she was good looking, I'd be like, "Ma'am, yes, ma'am."
Okay. What about you, Marky Mark?
Careful.
I think it would be funny, like everybody else said. I think it would be a hilarious movie. It definitely, if it was set back in the year that the movie was made in the 80s, it probably wouldn't get as much flack as if it was set today's standard because nobody would allow a woman to be tied up. And every time she did something wrong, the button would be pressed and she'd shoot up to the ceiling. So that is not going to happen. But maybe back in the 80s, it would be a little bit easier to swallow. And you got to even think when in Dolly's fantasy, she was the boss and she chased him around and made him do all that stuff. So you kind of saw it, what it would be like if a female was in charge. So that gave you part of it right there.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And would you be upset if Dolly Parton was smacking you on the butt? Nope.
Yeah, it would be fine.
Please, ma'am, may I have another? This would be a totally different type of movie.
It would. Wouldn't be rated PG like it was, right?
No.
All right, Calabas, what about you?
Well, it just goes to show you that men are still pigs. We would not find it as sexual harassment. We'd find it as encouragement. I was at a nightclub one night when a young lady had grabbed my ass, and I was shocked by it. but at the same time, I was proud. So yeah, I don't think that the movie, is unfortunately it's just the society that we're in now. The times, again, you could get away with that in the '80s. You could have got away with that easily. The '80s was nothing but TNA and craziness and da 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 da. But now, no, sadly, but you did get to see a little bit of that in Horrible Bosses. You had the one boss that um was it Jennifer Aniston, and she was always trying to get her help the guy to sleep with her and everything else and blackmailing them and stuff like that. But sadly, I just don't think it would work in this climate if you went the way they went with it. You'd have to make some major changes to it, and it wouldn't be the movie that we know now.
Okay. Seems like everybody kind of feel the same way about that movie. It worked back then, in the '80s for back then, but right now with all the movements, it definitely wouldn't work. Okay, so I am going to go to a male dominant role, obviously, James Bond. How would that work with a woman? I am going to go to Miss Liz with this one first. James Bond, being a woman.
I don't think it would work personally, because if you had a woman that acted like James Bond, I think they would pretty much figure she was a villain, vice a hero, and I don't think it would fly. I really don't think it would fly at all, because the whole object of James Bond was he was basically smart, eye candy, uh, womanizer, and the women liked it that way.
Okay.
But I don't think it would work. I don't think you could get a woman to I can't see Raquel Welch actually being James Bond. It just wouldn't work.
Okay.
And she's the
Okay.
sexiest woman I can think of.
True that. True that. What about you, Jedi Joe? James Bond being a woman.
Oh wow, I like that concept. To be honest with you, I mean, you know, I grew up watching James Bond, and of course, seeing the hot girls that Mr. Bond was with. But in today's society, I think I could handle a woman, James Bond, to see what she would do to get her job done and make everybody safe. So yeah, I'd be all for that.
Okay. Okay. Lady Gray?
I think if you wrote it well, it would work. I wouldn't want her necessarily going like toe to toe in a knockdown, drag out fight with someone, because that doesn't work for me if she's female. But James Bond tends to use his brains more than brawn, and I don't see why a woman couldn't do that in reality. There are a lot of female spies out there, and you could argue that it's been said that the female is far more cunning of the species than the male.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't a female James Bond work? You just
Okay.
have to write it well so it's believable.
True that. True that. Marky Mark?
Yeah, I like everybody said. Now thinking about it, it could work. You wouldn't be able to do the sexual stuff that James Bond does, so he wouldn't be a womanizer. I don't think that would work in a female-led movie. It would definitely have to be more of a
Sexist.
psychological type movie where he is going to be, she would be more cunning than a male. I think that part would work. And she may still use her feminine wiles to lure men, but I don't think she would be probably doing the same, sleeping with every guy she met like James does. So I think it would be interesting to see. I know there was a movie that's kind of similar to that with Atomic Blonde. So she was a female-led spy, and so you can get an idea of how it would work. I think it would be great to see though James Bond as a female. I think that's an idea that somebody should write too.
Okay. Patricia?
It would be a interesting and intriguing show. It would be kind of like Angelina Jolie with Salt. She was pretty clever and cunning, so I don't see why not.
Okay. Calibus?
I think it can be done, but I would prefer her to be, we open up the scene where she's leaving a dude in the bed and leaving money on the nightstand. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she doesn't do all the physical stuff, but maybe she always has a knife or something that, when she's in close quarters combat, she can break away and then take out a gun and shoot the dude straight in the head.
Okay.
I'm all for I guess a Jamie Bond, if you will. But again, she really has to be well written, and I don't think the sexuality should be taken out of it. I think she should, if she wants to have sex with so and so over there, she should be able to have it. But I don't want her to have the attachment. I want her to be ruthlessly cold when she gets up and like, oh, darling, are you coming to bed? Oh no, we're done. You can go. I want her to be just, just as misogynistic as Sean Connery was, because I love Sean Connery as James Bond. He's my favorite James Bond. But when I go back and I watch the films, I'm like, well, damn, how come I didn't notice that he was like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you're gonna do it, you need to do it right. Just because a woman, our ideas of this woman as a nurturer, and I'm not saying that she has to be sleeping with every dude that comes along, but I would put it out there in the first opening scene where, I'm not here for attachments. You know what I mean? Strictly. I just got done with a mission. I need a release. You were here. It's a comfortable arrangement. The money's on the stand. You can go.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Yeah,
Dexter.
but I think he didn't he eventually get attached and get married to one of the ones he kind of fell for, and then the bad guys killed her?
We don't talk
and
about
that one iteration of it, but he
yeah.
also had an illegitimate child at the end of one, and then he died for the child. So
yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Dexter?
If we're talking about a then and now scenario, if you had a female James Bond back then when the series started, no, it would never have worked. I don't think it ever would have worked. Today, sure, I think you picked a safe one with that. I think certainly there could be a Jane Bond, and she can sleep with whoever she wants, male, female, otherwise. Yeah, she'd have to be ruthless about it. Just kind of like Calibus is saying. Excuse me. Yeah, I think you picked a safe one.
Okay. Awesome. I think Simon had a comment there. He was talking about a female badass spy works.
I did, yes.
Yeah. Which, the character would be differently. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Okay, so I am going to change it up a little bit and go back to a couple of Disney movies. Which a lot of the Disney movies, the woman, the princess is, asleep, or, she's in a castle. So we can mention any of these movies because they're pretty much all the same. But, for example, Sleeping Beauty and Snow White, which, pretty much are pretty similar. Jedi Joe, would that work with the prince being, in the castle, sleeping, and the princess comes to save the day to fight the evil sorcerer.
Oh, Miss Vonda, please, please, let's not change that. I like that writing the original way. Let's not change that. That messes it up. I even got nightmares thinking about it right now. So I'll stick with the original.
Okay. Okay.
Thank
Why?
you.
Why though? Why?
Um, for a man,
Okay.
it seems to be, and I know the ladies are going to like this, but I think it's more romantic. I guess you could say. I think it's more storytelling. I guess. Maybe in today's society, I'm sure some people would think, let's have the prince sleeping and the woman, but I didn't grow up that way. I didn't see Disney that way. So I'll take my princesses as the Sleeping Beauty, the Little Mermaid. I like to keep those particular characters the way they are.
Okay. Okay.
Thank
No problem. No problem. Patricia, what about you?
It would be interesting because not all females need to be rescued, and females can be good warriors. Look at Joan of Arc. So we would be
Burned
capable
at
of
the stake.
we would be capable of saving the male species, I think.
Okay. Okay. Miss Gray?
I think it could definitely work. I don't know how popular it would be. This, like, you had Merida in Brave. She gets up there and says, "I'll be playing for my own hand," and she best all the males. And now everybody's like, "Oh, she's the least popular Disney princess," but she was always one of my favorites because she took charge and she took charge of her own fate. But you know, I don't know, and I keep coming back to it. It needs to be well written, but I thought Brave was well written, so I don't know.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Marky Mark?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think it would be something that worthwhile to see that a strong female character like that. And if you look, like Lady Grace said, Disney is going to making more stronger female characters now because Frozen, as well as Brave, Frozen didn't have a man saving the female. Um, it would have to be written so that you would enjoy it. But even like Jedi Joe said, I just like seeing Sleeping Beauty and Snow White as a female character. Um, it would leave something, I guess, to the imagination for the next generation. I guess it is something to think about.
Okay. Okay. Dexter, what about you?
I don't even want to think about it.
That's your answer?
Yeah. I don't even want to think about it. Next.
Okay. Miss Liz?
Well, I agree with Marky Mark and Jedi Joe. Uh, I love the fact that we have strong ladies like Mulan and Brave and, you know, and so on. But as far as Sleeping Beauty is concerned, and, that kind of thing, or Cinderella for that matter, uh, no, I wouldn't want to change it. I think it should stay the way it is. The girl gets the guy, and the guy gets the girl, and they get rescued because you know it's that's not the way the story is written. But as far as Mulan and Brave is concerned, spot on. That's the way they should have been.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Calibus?
The movie would have to be rated R because being a male, if I'm sleeping, you kissing me, so I'm getting ready to go down. It don't work that way. It just don't work that way. Another thing, how's she coming up across? I mean, how long have I been asleep? Because we all know things pop up, and you know what I'm saying. This has to be a rated R movie. We can't do these things.
What?
You can't have no sleeping male and a female come up and kiss him. It won't work. The movie would be rated R.
What kind of things would pop up?
You know what pops up next. You know what I mean?
This is no longer a Disney movie then either, right?
Right? That's what I'm saying. It ain't Disney no more. We had to put this over somewhere else. Now, as far as a woman rescuing a man, we all have mothers, so yeah, it's possible. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. I believe there is no real task as far as saving your significant other or the person that you love. That to me, that's genderless. That's, you're going to do what you have to do to save that person. So I just, I'm sitting there thinking about it. You just couldn't have no dude laying. Then she kiss him. Next thing you know, he think, oh, it's on. You know what I mean? So, being rescued. Oh yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, as long as she comes correct with, not this crazy thing where she's taking on 50 guards and you know what I mean? She finally gets there and that to me would be crazy. But yeah, a rescue, absolutely.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. What about Charlie's Angels? Now, you have 3 women working together for Charlie. Would it work with 3 men working together for Charlene? Miss Liz, Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, I think that would work. I think it would work very well, personally. Look at Man from Uncle. We had guys work. I realized they weren't working for a girl, but if the chief happened to be a girl and they were working, I think it would work. And we had James Bond working for a girl. So, yeah, I think it would work. I think it would be just as much fun watching the guys doing the the stuff that Charlie Angels did. And yes, I definitely think it would work.
Okay. Dexter.
Hey, no, thank you.
Okay.
Dexter. You gotta love his spirit, though, guys. You gotta love Dexter's spirit.
Patricia.
Charlie's Angels, it could work. It would be interesting to see how they would react to the situations because women react differently. I think women might think things through and not act as rashly as some men might. So could be interesting.
Okay. Lady Gray.
I think it could work, though I think it needs to be a requirement that they get half naked and covered with oil at least once an episode.
Yes.
Because the women had to, so it just seems fair. I'm just saying.
Yes. Amen. Yes. Marky Mark. Yes.
Yeah, it definitely could work. It would be. Now, since Lady Gray said that, I think it would be kind of funny that they do those same menial jobs that the women were doing in the original TV show. So they working at the what is it, the Playboy Bunny Ranch or something like that. So wearing that outfit, yeah, that would be funny. And you never get to see whatever name, I guess Charlene instead of Charlie. So you don't get to see her face, just hear her voice over the intercom. And she has to have a sultry voice, just like, so something that the guys are going to be fantasizing about every time they go on a mission. So that definitely would work. And you probably would get people watching it just for that situation. So yeah, that'll work.
Calibus?
I'm sorry, but you guys are forgetting in this day and age, one of them would be gay, always hitting on the other two. I'm just gonna put that out there,
Okay.
But I agree. If it was good for us, it's got to be good for y'all because you guys would be the ones watching it, and so would the gay men. So they would have to be oiled up in speedos. You know what I'm saying? Poolside all the time in some shades or whatever else. As long as we don't have no village people look, I think we could get away with it.
Oh, God. No. Try eating.
Okay. No, I love the village people though. Let me see. Did I get you, Jedi Joe? All right, Jedi Joe.
Oh, you know what? I like Dexter's response on this answer. I have to jump on that coattail. But anyways, let's rename it. Reboot it. Let's call it Charlene's Devils instead of Charlie's Angels because
No, let's not. Let's not.
now I'm not watching it. I can tell you that now.
Yeah.
You're renaming it. I think you're watching it.
I just want to make the
I know
dividends
Mark's
off of it.
watching it.
I just want the dividends off of it. I could care less what they do on it. I just want to make a little bit of the money because sex sells. There you go.
That's true. That is so true. That is so true. Okay, so Lord of the Rings. You have the Fellowship. The start
I'm
of
out.
the first
I'll see y'all later.
movie. Bye.
I'm not.
You have them starting from the Fellowship, getting to the end of the movie with Returning of the King. Did that take too long because there are men? Would women get there faster? Patricia, answer that for me.
Oh, we talked about that a couple of nights ago, and I think we figured that if women were in the Fellowship, we could get there before Elevensies was done. So, but it would be interesting. It would be fun to see how the whole thing would turn out, I think.
Okay. Marky Mark?
Okay, so we're replacing all of the guys that were in that. Yeah, I would say it could work. It would be totally different to see this all from a woman, women doing all of that. I still think that they would be just as corrupt as men when it came to the ring. They're going to fall right under that spell, and they're going to try to do the same thing men do, but they may be more cunning at trying to get the ring over what the men did. So it's possible, it's plausible, but in order for it to work, I think all of the villains would have to be replaced by females as well. It couldn't just be male dominated in that aspect, because some of those fight scenes would not have happened in the way that they did, and in the armies, the wars would not have been as epic as they were. I mean, you did have that one female in the last movie who killed the king right there when he said she's no woman. I mean, she's no man. Yeah, she would still have to be a female, or I don't know, a male working in that part. So I'd like to see it. Let's see what happens.
So you're saying that, because it's a woman,
yeah,
the scenes of their fighting wouldn't be as grand?
Absolutely. I'll just go there. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, and I'm only saying that because if you have women, let's just say that fight scene at the end of the first movie where the one guy was trying to take the ring and he kept getting shot by the arrows, and then the orcs came in and nearly, then of course, I can't remember the guy's name, when they threw the shield and almost decapitated the guy. That can't be a man versus a woman. That part does not work. Everybody in that scene, all of the orcs would have to be female as well for that to work. It couldn't be any men fighting up against the 7 women and expect the same type of epic battle that you saw in that happen with the female-led movie. So you're going to have to replace all of the characters for that scene to work. So yeah, that's what I'm
saying. That because we're weaker?
I won't answer that.
Vonda.
Yes.
Women can be heavy fighters. I was a heavy fighter for about 3 years. I did the sword, helmet, shield, everything. I had 65 to 80 pounds of armor on top of my own weight. So
yeah, but you're not fighting an orc. You're not fighting an orc.
I fought somebody as big as you, and I won.
No. An orc. They're not human. An orc. There's a total difference.
And that's all I'm saying. Just that. When you think about those orcs, and all of them were pretty massive like that.
If you have a good fight master, it would work. A good weapons wrangler, a good fight master, it would work.
I don't think she understands the question or the answer of orc. I really don't think she's getting
the Urukai. How do you know they weren't female? You don't know what female orcs look like.
Yeah, we do. We play D&D, so yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Yeah, so that's my only thing I would say. Just because of the fight scenes, you're going to have to replace everybody, female, with the female in order for that to work. Humans versus humans, you can probably put men in there, and that's not going to be a big deal. Even the elves could be males. That's not going to be a big deal. But when it comes to the orcs fighting humans, that's a huge deal and a huge disadvantage. I don't think that scene would work. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, we'll see that later. Jedi Joe.
I don't see no rings on my fingers. Wow. I don't know. One thing about it though, you ladies would probably get there on time, and we could probably take this movie from 6 to 8 hours to about 3, because us guys, we like to tend to not we don't tend to listen to our ladies when they say, hey, make a right there, and instead we make a left.
That's true.
So but what I could see, and I do have a very warped mind, not exactly today's. I could see this as an adult parody. That's it.
Okay.
An adult parody, not exactly a mainstream thing that I would spend my money on, but an adult parody, and I'll leave it like that.
Okay. Miss Liz.
I don't think it would work. Personally, I just can't see Frodo as a girl. I just can't do it.
Okay. Miss Gray.
So, at the risk of getting myself thrown out of the cosmic portal altogether, I've actually never been a big Lord of the Rings fan. I know, I'm sorry.
I'm with you, Miss. I'm with you, Lady Gray. I'm with you.
I've tried, and I actually read some of the books back when I was in school. But anyway, so my answer to the question: if the books had originally been written with female heroes in mind, I don't think we'd ever know the difference. I think it just, if it had been written back at the beginning with females, we wouldn't even be thinking about this. it just had to have been written so that it was females. But because we have it so in our head that it's got to be males, we can't envision it any other way.
Okay.
That's my. I don't know that really answers the question, but
Okay. Okay. It does. It does. And Mr. Calabas.
Not only do I think the movie would have been shorter, thank God, I think the women would have got there, dropped the ring off, because I'm telling you, I was in the theater. My friend says, "Hey, you know this is gonna end. It's a 3-part movie," and I said, "Oh hell no!" And that's when the credits started rolling. So I was done. It took way too long for them to do anything. I think, but I would have if it was females, well, even with the little female hobbits, I would have watched that. I would have watched that. You know what I mean? I would have watched. I would have been more interested. It would have held my interest more, because to me the hobbits were a little bit too feminine, and I couldn't get into it. Even Cag is a big fantasy person, so when these movies came out, I had to endure director's cuts and 3 VHS tapes full of Lord of the Rings stuff, and I don't even bother with it anymore. But I think if the women were there, it would have been a short movie. They would have dropped the ring off in the first movie, and we wouldn't even had 2 and 3.
Okay. Which the third one was the better of all three of them, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I would like to go into a little of old school TV shows. It could be one or the other. They're both pretty much the same and came on during the same time on TV. Bewitched and or I Dream of Jeannie. I see your eyes open up, Miss Liz, so I'm going to go to you first.
Oh my God, we had a female astronaut falling in love with a male genie. Oh my Lord. That would be interesting. That would definitely, but then we'd have to recast his buddy, because there's no way he's going to fall in love with him. He was smitten by Genie anyway. But no, it was, oh my God, a female astronaut in the 60s. Oh Lord, that would be something else. Um, and then of course they'd have to change the ratings, because I can just see the young gentleman, wearing that skimpy outfit. I don't think that would work. It would be great for the girls, but I don't think it would be good for the ratings. And then of course then we have to worry about censorship,
True.
because
So
you got to
true.
remember when it was back in the 60s. I
So
mean,
true.
but I think I would enjoy it.
Okay. 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 Jedi Joe.
Very, very interesting concept. Of course, we all grew up on it. So instead of Bewitched, it would probably be Bewizard.
Mhm.
And I Dream of Jeannie would probably be I Dream of of Jim.
Jen.
Or yeah,
Jen.
it's kind of a different concept, probably definitely in today's society for sure. I could see a little reboot, and that's probably the writing that we would probably expect in today's world. But I think back then it was more on the fact of sex sales. You're going to see basically, I thought in both shows you had strong women characters right then and there.
Mhm.
What's his name? At Bewitched, her husband was
Darren?
Darren was kind of a real dummy. And then in I Dream of Jeannie, he just couldn't handle that wild side of her. And I mean, they'd be like, dude, wish for anything you want and you would have it. I mean, and it don't have to be her either. I mean, and unlimited wishes. Yes, Miss Vonda, let's get this in production.
Okay. Probably rated X.
Now, where is your mind going? I was
Scary
trying to keep.
faces yours.
I went that way too. I mean, the very good-looking gentleman in the scantily clad outfit, and yes, if he was going to give me anything in the world,
Oh, Miss Liz, Miss Liz. I'm gonna stop you there, ma'am. I'm gonna stop you.
I wasn't going to say anything. But yes, I would not have been Tony Nelson. I would have definitely let him give me stuff that I needed, and that way we would have never had to have dealt with his sister.
Okay. Gotcha. Family. Patricia.
A nicely muscled gin would be a treat to see every once in a while, and they could take care of the heavy labor around. A male witch, that would have possibilities too. It would be interesting to see what would happen if you had a show that combined both of them, or had both of them in the same sitcom, as it were.
Okay. Marky Mark.
So this show is definitely going to be on HBO or something, because you're not going to get the ratings on regular TV. So yeah, it would have to be probably rated R if you're going to have a man in that role, because women or everybody's going to go where, oh, why did he never wish for this? I would have wished for this if I was that person. Especially when it comes I Dream of Jeannie. I never understood why Nelson never made any wishes. I mean, his friend always wanted to do something. So that's how everybody else thinks. Oh, I would have done that. I would have done this. I don't think Bewitched would be more interesting when she, especially if they had a child, and then just like the one their child had met became a wizard as well. They had a son and all of that. So I think it would be fun to see. Just that it would have to be on it's going to have to be on like HBO or something just to make it work.
Okay. Calibus.
Well, I'm inclined to agree. I think it would be a wonderful show, but it would definitely have to be on HBO Max. I mean, especially nowadays. I mean, look at the things we have, or Hulu. I mean, we have American Horror Story or something like that. So you'd have to really, spice it up and keep it, especially the Jin one. You know what I mean? Maybe she's controlling him and stopping him from doing mischief or whatever else. I mean, it couldn't be that cutesy, you know what I mean, thing where, well, then again, it could be. I mean, I guess because she's in control of him, so she could make him do whatever she wanted him to do. So, yeah, okay. The Warlock one, though, nah, that's, you know what I mean? I can't see, I can't see him being married to a mortal, because then he could just, do the stuff that Sam wouldn't do to Darren. He would just erase her mind, go out, sleep with whoever he wanted to, come back and act like nothing happened. You know what I mean? But the genie one would be interesting. How could she contain the Jinn? And to bring, of course, in the women viewers, he would always have to be bare-chested in these little MC Hammer pants and whatnot, running around doing whatever. So I agree with Marky Mark. It would have to be on HBO Max or Hulu.
Okay. And Miss Lady Gray.
See, y'all all went X, and I just got this image of Blue Robin Williams when y'all said male genie. I like y'all's better. But all I got is this image Robin Williams coming out of that bottle going, "At last I'm free," and singing, "You never had a friend like me." So I can't get out of my head. Sorry, I'm done.
Okay, okay, I gotcha. I got another movie for y'all. Pretty Woman. You know, we all love, Richard Gere. I mean, and what was her name? Richard Gere and
Roberts,
Julia
yes,
Roberts.
Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
And a great movie, a classic movie, reversed. Miss Liz.
I don't think it would work. There's no way. I just can't see a very successful executive female picking up a hooker and eventually marrying her like that. No, I don't think it's just the the prince and the princess and the pea and all that kind of stuff. It's just the Pygmalion type storyline. I don't think it would work. I
Okay.
mean, you could maybe do it as a comedy, like they did with Jerry Lewis, but no, I don't think it would work.
Okay. Okay. Patricia?
Oh, it could have its merits. She could rent out a gentleman for the events she needs, and if something happens between them, then it might work out. But a lighthearted romantic comedy would probably suit it.
Okay. Okay. Jedi Joe?
Oh man, Miss Liz, boy, she brought up some nostalgia for me. Cinderfella, Jerry Lewis. Great movie. Enjoyed it. But no, I gotta agree with her. I don't think I would want to. I don't know. It just doesn't sound right. But Cinderfella with Jerry Lewis, that was hilarious. I remember seeing that with my mom, so that was pretty cool.
Okay. Okay. Marky Mark?
Okay, so I, I can think it probably could work in some situations. Um, the thing about you've seen there's executives that have probably paid people to go on dates with them to function, so that part definitely works. Um, the falling in love or picking up a male gigolo somewhere to do it and then falling in love with that person. Um, I don't think she would be the same in that same situation. And especially, let's just talk about the elevator scene when Julia Roberts got on the elevator and was like, touching up her legs. And she's like, oh, I'm not even wearing any stockings. And then the other people didn't get on. So that would be interesting to see. But those situations wouldn't work. But the complete story, that would definitely be plausible. And like Patricia said, it would be a romantic comedy. I'm pretty sure it would be a Hallmark movie, Hallmark of the summer, or movie of the week. So I'll let you know if I find one. But yeah, that definitely will work.
Okay. Okay. Lady Gray?
So the original movie kind of didn't work for me. The whole picking up a prostitute and falling in love, um, but more like Patricia said, the Hallmark lighter rom com. I think if that was reversed, I think it would work. Um, I don't know. I didn't like the original movie that much, so because I felt like it made very light. It made a lighthearted subject, a very dark subject, seem very lighthearted. I'm not expressing that right, but
Okay.
you know what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Calibus.
Frank Garvin, male prostitute. Saturday Night Live. I don't think it'll work at all because women don't have to pay for it. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It just don't work for me. As a matter of fact, they made a movie after that called Prostitute because that movie glorified, prostitution and falling in love and all this other stuff, and they showed the real dirty side of it. And I just don't think as a movie that's it's especially an executive, she's making some money. I do not see her going out and maybe having a plus one to hold her coat, look handsome or whatever else, but as far as sleep with him, nah, it's just I don't see it.
Okay. Okay. And I would just like to just go out there and mention one more show. It's a comedy. The Golden Girls. It's an oldie but goodie. It's I think there was four of them living together in a house. And how would that work, Miss Liz? The Golden Girls.
I wouldn't mess with that classic at all.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say. It's a classic, and I would never want to mess with that one.
Okay.
Not in 100 years.
Okay. Okay. Patricia?
Oh, it would be kind of like having The Odd Couple times two. It might be hilarious to see what would happen, how they would all interact with each other, especially if you've got one that tends to be tidier than the rest and is always complaining about people leaving a mess. So it might be funny.
Okay. Okay. We need some laughter in our lives. Jedi Joe?
I'm kidding with Liz on this one. I think that the Golden Girls, what are we going to call it? The Golden Guys? I mean, the Golden Girls. It was a classic, and I got to admit, I've watched it recently, so I like my old sitcoms. But I think it would be, better off left alone.
Okay. Okay.
With that being said, Miss Vonda, I have one to throw back at y'all, and I want to know what y'all think, but I don't want to mess your script up yet. So
Okay.
if you will endure me on that later on, I would appreciate it. I think that would be cool to know.
Okay. Definitely. Definitely.
Ow!
Calibus, what about you?
I don't. I think it would be kind of boring. Old guys, the only thing we be doing is playing dominoes and video games. I mean, I don't really see, what I mean? It would take us back to our frat days, you know what I mean? Old guys sitting around talking about what was and slamming dominoes or throwing cards, I think the Golden Girls was one of those unique formulas that worked and really had a lot of great. Well, it had great star power. I mean, let's just face that. And you'd have to find five old men. And in this day and age, they would want to make one guy, black, one guy this, one guy,
Yeah.
and then of course one guy would have to be gay, and instead of just the humor again. But I really don't think, I don't really think that that type of dynamic would work. It's not really how it would be. You know what I mean? A couple of a widower, two divorcees, and a single old guy. They all move in together. Nah, it's not. Guys don't really do stuff like that.
True that. True that. Lady Gray.
This is actually one of my favorite old shows. So I kind of am with Miss Liz. Don't mess with it, though. I mean, it definitely wouldn't be the Golden Girls, maybe the Grumpy Guys, because I think you'd end up with just 4 grumpy old men, sitting on the porch with a shotgun. Get off my lawn. Um, I don't think it would be funny at all.
Okay. Okay.
Or maybe it would be funny, but not in the same way.
Okay. Okay. And Marky Mark, who have seen this show probably 10 times over every episode.
I love the Golden Girls. I like you said, I've watched it numerous times. Most of the time when it comes on, I already know what the whole episode is about from the opening. So it would be funny. I mean, as everybody said, you don't really want to mess with it. It would be interesting if they did decide to do it, especially if you had a male that was, like the slut, like what is it, Rue. Then you have the father of one of the people that her husband or his wife shows up all the time. Um, but yeah, I definitely would say don't mess with it. It is something that I love it the way it was. I love Betty White being the airhead. I can't see a male playing that role at all. Um, but everything else would just be pretty cool. And I still love that house. So that would be the only thing I would want to see is the house again.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's all I have for y'all today. But Jedi Joe would like to throw something out to us. So go for it.
Thank you, Ms. Vonda. I appreciate that. So, the first year it came out, um, I took my wife to see it for our anniversary and everything, and sitting in the audience to watch this movie and listening to basically all the females in the room, it was kind of like, oh my God, that's amazing. She just said that, and you barely heard any dudes say anything, nor did you hear or see very many. But the movie I'm talking about is 50 Shades of Grey. And of course, in the book series, you had 3 of them. And then, according to, I guess, my wife, she was telling me that there was another one called Grey, which is where you saw where he was dominated by the female, which taught him how to be a dominant. And I personally would love to have seen how that would have done at the theaters, simply because 50 Shades of Grey, the book and the movie seemed to do as well as it did for its day. But I guess that's what my thoughts is. If any of y'all saw that, did you like it, or what would you think about seeing what Dorian Gray would have went through and having a strong female kind of,
Jedi Joe,
cat.
are you trying to tell us something, or is this something that you're confessing?
Let me put it to you this way: there is no rubber ball going in my mouth, nor do I wear assless chaps. So the question is the whole female in control is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So you saw what Dorian did, but how about the female being in charge? You doing what I say. If you mess up, you're going to count with me while I whip your ass.
I don't think the male should be allowed to answer that question. It should only be female.
I agree. Totally agree with that one.
I myself have never seen those movies. It just didn't seem like anything that I would be interested in. I call them chick flicks. Just wasn't like, no. I had quite a few friends that went to see it, wanted me to go see it with them, and I just wasn't interested in seeing that. I don't know, just maybe age, maybe married. So I really don't know too much about that movie other than the few. I do know the little red ball scene, and I guess she was tied up in a room somewhere, but That's really all I know about the show. So we will have to ask one of the other ladies that's probably have seen that. So I am going to go with Miss Liz first.
I never saw it, never had any desire to see it. I've never seen 50 Shades of Grey and no knowledge of it whatsoever. Now, I have seen the painting of Dorian Gray. I've seen the several versions of that.
Yeah.
But my God, you imagine having a woman with a painting in her closet that aged and not her? That would be interesting.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But other than that, no, I don't know anything about the other one.
Okay. Okay. Patricia?
The books are a little mild. I haven't seen the movie, but why not?
Okay. Lady Gray.
Okay. I read the first two books, and as Patricia said, they are very mild. I saw the first movie, and when he more or less goes, and she goes, "Why would you want to hurt me?" And I'm like, "Chick, you didn't even feel that. What the heck are you talking about?" I was done. That being said, being a prolific reader, I have read a lot. So I have read both male and female, and it works both ways. As long as you have strong characters, it works. You just have to have strong characters and a good storyline.
Okay. Okay. And Mark and Mark or Calabas want to put their 2 cents in it? Just, just so us women know how you men think.
Oh, Marky Mark, you may go first.
Okay. I didn't see the movie. The only thing I can say, I did read 9.5 Weeks when I was younger, and it sounds similar to that. And I would say, yeah, that. I mean, I guess, yeah, like you said, if you do it well, you can have a female that takes charge like that. I guess we all know that happens anyway in situations. I'll just put it that way. So yeah, it could work. I guess having a female do the same thing that men do. I don't see why not.
Okay. Okay. Calabas?
I do not get drunk around my wife like that. That's all I can say. That's all I'm going to say.
So have you seen the movie?
Sadly, I have seen the movie.
Okay.
Didn't want to see the movie, but yeah, I haven't seen the other was it the last one that came out? But I mean, if you trust in your partner, to each his own. I do not trust my partner, therefore, no.
Why did you say that live?
She knows it. She knows it. You don't get drunk like that around Jinky. It just does not. Manhood would be tested. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Manhood would be tested.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. So I'm assuming Jedi Joe's the only one that truly have seen all of the movies. Is there like 2 or 3 of them? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's of course 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades Darker, and then 50 Shades Freed.
Okay.
And then supposedly there was a book called Grey, and that was about where he was young and he met his mistress, which brought him into this world of dominance and that sort of thing. And, you kind of see a little bit of that in all three of the movies. Now, mind you, I mean, I'm a supportive husband. I'll take my wife to see whatever she wants to see, But I think what the first time of me seeing this movie was more or less the actual openness that women had seeing it. I mean, when Dorian Gray turned around at their meeting between him and the girl, and they're accepting all the terms, and she's in this little red dress, and the next thing you know, he closes up the folder and he says, "I want to F you into the middle of next week." The theater went wild.
Oh, wow.
And it was women that went wild. The guys are kind of scrunched down in their seats like, holy moly, I'm at this type of vineyard. Holy crap. I had a fun time watching everybody else than actually watching the movie. I had to watch it twice just to get back to current affairs.
Sure, you watch it twice just for that.
Yeah, that's awful suspect, don't you think?
Yeah.
So
Okay, I understand.
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay. We will find out if that's the truth or not. All right, everyone. Looks like that is our time for this Thursday. I would like to thank Jedi Joe, Marky Mark, Calibus, and Dexter for joining us ladies today. It was interesting. Patricia and I just decided to, come up with this idea with the gender swapping and having the men coming up here just to get their opinion. So I do appreciate everyone for tuning in. Have a great 2 weeks. Stay safe. From what I understand, it's supposed to be kind of raining and blah tomorrow. So please try not to get out if you don't have to. And I will see everyone in 2 weeks. Bye.
Please subscribe and hit that notification bell, and thanks.